how are we communicating our brand and what we stand for, and how is that gonna look like on social media, so Instagram, Threads, TikTok, etc. And I think that's also where Izzy and I were like, okay, it's time for us to build a brand of our own as founders, because what we have done up to this point is great and we should be sharing it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Recap. I think it's only fitting that this episode is about rebranding, starting fresh, and all things new in a new year, in a new era, all that.
We're gonna touch on the new Reka, everything that happened behind the scenes to, get where we are in terms of our brand, structuring internally.
Was a major shift for us, and honestly it kind of came on a whim when we were reviewing some of our branding, putting some logos on a few assets, and we were like, we just don't think this suits us anymore. Yeah. And we've evolved so much internally that I think it's time that the external reflects that. So that was the start of it.
I think as founders, when it's time, when you hit that point where it was your goal, you worked so hard to get there, and now it's okay, let's backtrack and let's do things even better. Let's elevate our branding and let's just, get everything right.
But this time around, we kind of figured that if we're going to do this, we're going to do it to the max, and we're going to do it right, so that, we don't need to do this again in a couple months, but also so that it's super high quality. When we reveal the rebrand, it's impactful and it lasts a long time. So timeless, high quality were biggest priorities with this. But that meant, making the decision to really invest, which we didn't have the opportunity to do when we started, because we didn't have any starting capital. So this time around, we made the decision to really invest in our rebrand and kind of make sure that every angle of it was reflecting our quality of work and our standards.
Yeah. And just so you know, our first logo was created and ideated by us completely. And for this logo, like she said, we really invested. Our whole team came together. We were all, pitching in ideas and really trying to nail down what we wanted to communicate with it.
We kind of did the beginning part in secret from our team. We only had one team member in on it and working with us. And
shout out.
Yeah, shout out Brenda. Woo! And then I think once we got to a really strong point and we had a few options going, we thought it would be really fun to involve the team, get some feedback, and see how, they envisioned the rebrand going.
And if you have been following us on Instagram, you saw a couple of the options that we were picking from.
Yeah, that's also a really fun part, I think, that all brands should be doing when they're going through a transition. Involve your audience.
Yes.
I see a lot of people that are about to launch a product or launch a rebrand, involving their Instagram audience in the decision-making process. It helps you connect in a different way. It helps you engage with new people, also in new ways, like people who typically won't comment. They're kind of more enticed to comment. So I think this is a really important factor of doing something like that.
So right after we worked on the rebrand for the logo and everything that came with it, the brand book, the colors, we also took a look just internally in terms of what really meant to have the RE in front of our name. And that's just going back to, we started, Recreative Agency was just an agency, but now it stands for more than just that. It's a community, a recreative community. We're trying to achieve Recap, the podcast. We're also trying to grow a lot of other facets like retreats, and so many other things that we're so excited to touch on.
Yes. So the RE kind of made its debut in the beginning of our agency days. But now that we've kind of ideated a lot of different branches for our brand, it means a lot more. And it needs to also be more fluid to connect with those audiences of the new areas we're expanding into. So that was taken into consideration for our rebrand. Also, I think our pictures that we use everywhere were from their first year in business. Yeah. And, we got a little older, a little cuter. So it was redo some of those photos.
Yeah.
And then our new merch.
Oh my God. And I mean, you have seen it in a couple of the episodes in the past. We really invested in merch. I think just putting out there our logos everywhere, like having our team wear it, it empowers you and it reminds you like what you're doing and means something and you're a part of something as well.
Yeah, I think wearing the merch for our team members on content production sites has been so nice because like everyone kind of recognizes you more as an agency and, you know, as a team. And it gives you some sense of like belonging to something. So that's been a really fun way to see that happen.
Yeah. And that's all the fun stuff. But then we also had to take a look internally and really think, okay, communication wise, how are we communicating our brand and what we stand for? And how is that going to look like on social media? So Instagram, Threads, TikTok, etc. Yeah. And I think that's also where Izzy and I were like, okay, it's time for us to build a brand of our own as founders, because what we have done up to this point is great and we should be sharing it.
That helped us determine the tone of voice we were going to move forward with in the rebrand, and that's something that everyone needs to consider. Are you going to be more fun and friendly and approachable? Are you kind of transitioning into a more individualistic approach? Like what is your tone of voice that you're setting with this rebrand? And we wanted it to be elevated and professional, but also we want to engage new audiences on social media platforms as an agency to be relatable, fun, kind of not so serious. Like we want to expose the fun side to our business and make that something where we find a new audience to connect with. Even on the podcast where we're going to share all of our crazy stories that we get to endure as founders, you know, that side has been a really big highlight in our rebrand.
Definitely. I think relatability is so important, like she mentioned, and that's something that we weren't showing at the beginning.
We wanted to maintain just professionalism for the clients.
Right. But we're so focused on growing that side, which was great at the beginning because we really used that into our advantage, and like we grew a large team, great clients, and now that's when we realized it's time to actually expand on the external side.
So our transition in our content strategy kind of began with a lot of testing, and this was where we knew what the tone of voice was going to be and like who our audience was going to be, but we needed to test the right way to reach them. And it's funny because we do that for all of our clients, but like we never did it for ourselves.
We became our own client.
Yes. Well, that was a huge part of it because we treated Rekka's socials as if it was a client. Yeah. We put a whole team together to handle this account. Yeah. We tested strategy. We reviewed metrics. Like we went back and edited copy. And before it was just kind of like, you know, here and there we'd post on a much less frequent cadence.
And we were managing it.
Yeah, and it was just us.
Yeah.
Wow, like that seems like a long time ago.
I know.
But it's only been like 2 months.
Yeah. But we literally had to hire an internal team to handle just Rekka, to oversee all the socials, all the graphics, the communication, even the podcast.
Yeah. And that's when we kind of started taking this seriously, because now we're obviously investing capital into this and it needs to work. Otherwise, what is it for? Important to note that our socials is not to generate leads like our clients, okay?
I love that you're touching on that.
Yeah, because we have always known that our clients are not going to come from our Instagram or our podcast. I mean, maybe we'll get, you know, some broader reach for the agency name and recognition, but that's for the brand side. Our serious leads come from referrals, and we've always said that. So knowing that this is more for connecting with our audience and building our brand has been important in the content strategy.
Yeah. Brand awareness, building that community, is everything for Instagram right now.
Knowing who's really like our target audience in this.
Who's watching.
Yes. We have been paying attention to who's watching during the testing phase, and that's how we've curated our content strategy to be kind of like spot on in terms of cadence, the tone of voice that we're using. Again, that's like the foundation of a rebrand is, you know, what tone of voice are you moving forward with? That's going to determine everything. And then I think that really gets into our website.
Yeah. And
how we decided who is looking at our website, who's finding us, you know, how are they landing on our website, from where. And The most important part for us in our rebrand and our website renovation was, what are we telling in terms of a story? It needs to be visual, because as a creative agency,
That's all we do.
That's all we do. We're delivering visuals. And we want to wrap up essentially the intricacies of what we do in a storytelling way, right, on our website.
Yeah.
It needs to look high-end, high quality, extremely digestible.
We basically combine everything that's professional, including our portfolio, all the work that we do, the results, like anything a client needs to see when they're looking to hire us, but then also including like more about why Reka, like who are we? Who are you working with? Like what do we stand for? That story is so important, and honestly, if you have seen our website, you know it does an amazing job communicating that.
Yes, the dynamic needs to be communicated.
Pat on the back. We worked so hard on that website, months.
Yeah, it definitely took longer than we anticipated, but we knew that getting into it.
Yeah.
We know ourselves.
We're like a month.
We like to be unrealistic. That kind of is a great segue into how we restructured our services.
I mean, we're still going in terms of services. Like we have said many times before, as we grow and we find different gaps, like we restructure internally, so it's a never ending process. However, that's when we also noticed that we needed to narrow down what we were offering.
Yeah, so when we were looking at our old site and trying to figure out like what we're bringing into the new one, we realized that a lot of the services were not necessarily something we do as a standalone anymore. They're either folded into a larger package, or like we just outsource and don't necessarily do that as a main service.
Right. Let's
it's
put
an
it
add-on.
this way. Right. We had about maybe 10 categories for services, and now we have 4.
Yeah.
So that says it all.
It's important though, like you gotta curate your core pillars, your services, helps you kind of narrow down your quality and what you're focusing on. Narrow down your strengths. I'd say look at the services you offer that are the most lucrative, and also the best quality deliverables you're sending out.
It was so important for us to really, maybe there's a service that we love doing, but we recognize that we don't make money from this. It's time consuming, and it's just like not something that can sustainably grow, and it's time to let go. So there was a lot of cleanup.
If you can't grow, let go.
A lot of looking internally to what worked and what didn't. We also met with our team to, recognize what are we doing the most for our clients, and what like our services that we have done that are a one and done that could stay as add-ons.
Yeah. Our 4 services right now are brand strategy, content production, social media marketing, and marketing 360. We decided to put in marketing 360 when we realized that a lot of the services that were on our old website were compiled into this new package that we started offering, and it was nowhere to be found on our website. No one even knew it was a thing.
Crazy.
So that also kind of condensed a lot of our old services like TikTok, Pinterest, whatever, into add-ons for services like social media marketing, content production. So it allowed us to be more flexible for different styles of clients that we were taking on, because through all the rebranding, through all the transitions, something that stayed the same is we're still taking clients that are, in their startup phase, and we're still taking clients that are all the way on the other side of the spectrum and have existed for decades. So
yeah, we need our services to fit both type of clients. So a good example, one of our clients that needs social media marketing also needs TikTok and also needs Pinterest. So that's a great way to show you how a client can take social media marketing but also have 2 different add-ons into their package. Whereas a commercial client that needs a whole spectrum of different services would fit straight into the marketing 360.
Also though, for that client that you mentioned that fits into a lot of different areas and is only under social media management with the add-ons, we do brand strategy for them, because when they were redoing their website, it was with one of our partners and we were consultants on that project, even though they're not in our marketing 360 package. So it does fit for a lot of different clients. Even the content production, we folded that in as an add-on to their social media management, since the marketing 360 package, which includes that, is a little bit of a different level for the business that they're at.
So basically, if you're a client, you could be doing social media marketing for you, but you could also be hiring us for different services at any point of time.
Right.
So another great example of a client that comes to us for maybe not a big service, but starting out with a smaller add-on such as branding and doing all the back-end branding before they start their brand and launch. We take those clients in, we handle the branding, and then eventually we turn them into full-time clients and fold them into the different services that we have.
Yeah, so for example, someone will come to us for a rebrand project. The timeline is usually 6 weeks from start to finish. And our goal as an agency is to turn them into a retainer client. So throughout that process, we kind of start using the branding that they're moving forward with in samples and, you know, different styles of work that we can do for them. Content production's a big one right after the brand kit is done, because then we're like, okay, but now you also need headshots, or you need photos of your work and services for whatever you're going to move into next. Website, social media, anything. Even their pitch decks for their own clients. So then we go from completing the brand kit to doing a content production, and it's like, well, now you have all this content, so social media management
makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah, and that's how we kind of go from a one-time project to a retainer.
I think one of the most important tips that we can give you is to treat any rebrand as a campaign. Like, make sure you have all the deliverables in place for social media. Like, you need to know what platforms you're launching in and the way that you're launching in every platform, because it's not going to be a one fit all. It's going to be very differently for each, you know, platform and how you want to communicate that.
Don't focus on perfection though in this process, because I think the most relatable content that's going to reach the right audience is the part that you're trying to figure things out. And that's, like I said, when we were trying to decide on the new logo to move forward with, we involved our audience and got real feedback from these people, you know, on what decision we should move forward with, and it engaged our audience. A brand that actually did this really well was Rhode with the pocket blushes.
Yes. Oh my God.
Okay, so I made a TikTok about this. Nobody watched it. It's fine. I'll talk about it here. When Rhode launched their mini pocket blushes, they sent out, instead of doing like regular PR when it launched, they sent out their prototypes to a handful of influencers to give feedback and make videos with the unreleased packaging. This not only got the influencers to give a sneak peek to their audiences about the new product and get people excited about it, the brand was able to read the comments and be like, that's going to be so hard to travel with. It's like, you know, chunky and it might be heavy, or like, oh my God, that's adorable. I love the color of this. Like, you get such specific feedback that is important for whatever product or rebrand you're launching. And that was a really creative way to do it. So I think that was a huge win for them.
Definitely listen to your audience. They're the one that are going to be digesting all of this and trying your product. So you want to make sure that whatever you're delivering fits what they're looking for.
Find creative ways to get them involved though, because that was definitely, you know, like,
that was great.
That was a great launch strategy. Getting people to give feedback on our logo options and variations was also interesting. We did it as a carousel post. So, you know, getting creative with it. I've seen, who did I just send you an Instagram launching a product soon, and it was a blurred out carousel post.
The amount of Instagrams we sent to each other.
I'm gonna look actually really quick. Okay. So Tower 28 is dropping a new product soon, and their post is watch out, drop ahead, with like a huge, I'll insert the photo here, with a huge warning sign. And then the next slide is a blurred out image of what it could be. And it says, this photo contains icy content. You won't want to miss this one. I mean,
that's so good.
The amount of comments on this post is like, oh my God, is it this? Please bring this back. I'm begging you. This is how you know what your audience wants from you, because it's not necessarily the product that you're launching, but at least you know what people are missing from your brand and what you can bring out next. So that is a great example.
So definitely include teasers.
Yeah, teasers. Get creative with it, you know. engage your audience.
So another example on how you could do not necessarily a rebrand and change your whole brand, but just like revamp your socials is Crown Affair.
Yeah, we
They
love
handled
them.
this so well. They kind of like transitioned their social media from being very aesthetic, very low colors to really bright and very different. So you can see like immediate like contrast between what they were posting and what they're posting now. And I think that was like they changed their communication, they changed the content and type of pictures they were using. I think they did a great job revamping their socials.
Yeah, their tone of voice definitely shifted. You could see it in their content, and they did such a great job with it. So, shout out Crown Affair. We'll always keep highlighting that brand. We love them. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We hope that rebranding your business comes with ease, as it should. I hope you got a little bit inspired of how to engage your audience in any rebrand or product launch that you're looking to do. And we can't wait to see you in 2 weeks. Bye.